Welcome back to another episode of BrightLearn, the podcast where we dive deep into the most pressing issues of our time, and today we're bringing you a fascinating report on a recent interview that took place on Decentralized TV. The interview featured Dr. Shiva, a presidential candidate with a unique vision for America, and it was a conversation that really hit home on some of the most critical topics of our era, including artificial intelligence, the control of technology, and the future of democracy. Dr. Shiva, a man with a deep background in technology and a heart for the people, started by sharing his insights on the current state of AI. He pointed out that the AI systems we see today, like ChatGPT and those from Google and Microsoft, are all centrally controlled by corporations. These systems are not just closed off, they're also deeply influenced by a woke ideology that often contradicts the values of the broader population. Dr. Shiva emphasized that these AI systems are designed to serve a small, elite group rather than the masses. They promote ideas like the notion that men can have babies, that climate change is an existential threat, and that we should defer to government authority without question. This is a stark contrast to the decentralized grassroots movements that Dr. Shiva and many others are advocating for. One of the most striking points Dr. Shiva made was about the nature of technology and who controls it. He drew a parallel to the history of the Internet, which was initially supposed to be a decentralized platform where everyone could build their own websites and communities. However, over time, it became dominated by a few major players like Facebook, Twitter, and Google. This centralization has led to a loss of individual autonomy and a concentration of power in the hands of a few corporations. Dr. Shiva warned that the same pattern is repeating with AI, and unless we take action, we risk losing control over our own data and our own lives. The conversation then took a turn to the political landscape, and Dr. Shiva shared his experiences running for office. He talked about the challenges of collecting signatures to get on the ballot, a process that should be straightforward but is often manipulated by the elites. He recounted how he and his volunteers were out in the cold, collecting signatures, while other candidates like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. used backroom deals and paid consultants to get the job done. This, Dr. Shiva argued, is a clear example of how the system is rigged against grassroots candidates and in favor of those with deep pockets and connections. But the heart of the interview was Dr. Shiva's vision for a decentralized America. He introduced the concept of swarm intelligence, a term that describes how a group of individuals, when working together, can achieve more than any single individual could on their own. Dr. Shiva used the analogy of a flock of birds, where each bird follows simple rules, but the flock as a whole moves in a coordinated and intelligent way. He argued that the elites, who he refers to as the swarm, are a multiracial, decentralized group of people who are united by their desire for power, profit, and control. They may have their differences, but ultimately they work together to suppress the broad mass of humanity. Dr. Shiva's message was clear. We need to shatter the swarm and build a decentralized movement that empowers individuals. He emphasized that the key to this is not just political action, but personal transformation. He encouraged listeners to become more human, to tap into their intuitive intelligence, and to connect with their higher selves. He shared his own experiences with meditation and the 3 levels of intelligence: instinctual, intellectual, and intuitive, and how the intuitive level is the one that can truly change the world. One of the most powerful moments in the interview was when Dr. Shiva talked about the mechanistic view of the universe. He explained that this view, which sees the world as a predictable clockwork mechanism, is deeply flawed. It leads to the belief that everything can be predicted and controlled, which is exactly what the elites want us to believe. Instead, Dr. Shiva argued, the universe is non-deterministic, and individual actions can have profound effects. He encouraged listeners to raise their consciousness and connect with their creator, emphasizing that this is the path to true freedom and change. The interview concluded with practical steps that people can take to support Dr. Shiva's campaign and the broader movement for decentralization. He invited listeners to visit his website, shivaforpresident.com. To get involved, volunteer, and learn more about the policies he would implement as president. He emphasized that the campaign is not about money, but about using our labor and ingenuity to create change. Todd Pittner, co-host of Decentralized TV, added a personal touch by sharing his own experiences with permaculture and food forests. He invited Dr. Shiva, to visit Galt's Landing, a project in Central Florida that demonstrates how permaculture can transform barren land into a thriving, abundant food forest. Todd believes that teaching people, especially children and prisoners, how to grow their own food is a powerful way to tap into the intuitive level of intelligence and create a more connected, sustainable world. In closing, Dr. Shiva thanked Adams and Pittner for the opportunity to share his vision and for their commitment to truth and freedom. He emphasized that the key to changing the world is not just in political action, but in personal transformation and connection with our higher selves. So, there you have it, folks. A truly groundbreaking conversation that challenges us to think deeply about the role of technology, the nature of power, and the path to a more decentralized, equitable future. If you're inspired by Dr. Shiva's vision, I encourage you to visit shivaforpresident.com and get involved. And if you're interested in permaculture and sustainable living, check out the 4th episode of Decentralized TV, where they interview Jim Gale of Food Forest Abundance. Thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for more episodes of BrightLearn, where we continue to explore the most important issues of our time. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep fighting for a better world.
This has been a BrightLearn.ai summary of an interview between Dr. Shiva and Decentralized TV hosts Mike Adams and Todd Pittner on April 3, 2024. The full interview is available at brighteon.com, where you can also find podcasts and special reports by Mike Adams and other creators. Visit naturalnews.com for full editorial coverage of this interview and breaking news on critical stories that will keep you informed and aware of what's really going on.